Dear listeners, you all are welcome here in our study of literature. Today, my topic is the second renaissance of rural Bengal under the leadership of Lalon Shah and his disciples. In our present social context, the term intolerance has got mass currency, especially in our domestic and regional sphere. Unfortunately enough, this tendency of intolerance has become religion centric nowadays. The possible remedy for such unhygienic element is well rooted in our traditional Baul cult, which flourished in the soil of Bengal during the early process of Hindu Islamic synergy. So, I would like to concentrate on Lalon Shah, the poet, the lyricist, the dreamer, and the social revolutionist who hastened the very process of Hindu-Muslim synergy in his lifetime and in the subsequent age through his followers. Actually, with their love for oppressed humanity, their unique lyrical power, with their superb idea on Dehotattva, and with their equal attention for the Hindu and Muslim, Lalon and his followers have become mass and at the same time mystic figures. It was the second half of the 19th century and the place was the Poddagorai basin of Kustia now in Bangladesh. Dear listeners, the second half of the 18th century witnessed the nativity of two great reformers here in Bengal. They were Raja Ram Mohan Rai and, of course, the great Baul Lalon Shah. Ram Mohan was the first modern man in India and the pioneer of the Renaissance of Bengal as well as India. He was associated with his intellectual sphere with Radhakanta Dev, Dirozio, Debendranath Tagore, Vidyasagar, Keshav Chandra Sen, and so on. But on the other hand, Lalon was totally rural and even illiterate. But his love for oppressed humanity, his lyrical power, his superb idea on Dehotattva, and his equal attention for Hindu and Muslim made him a true reformer, a dreamer, and a mass figure. And unlike Ram Mohan, he was surrounded by a group of mystic personalities like Gagan Harkara, Sharbokhepi Bostami, Kangal Horinath, Gosai Ramlal, Gosai Gopal, and so on. And these are the rural but enlightened scholars who conveyed Lalon's total ideology to their new patron, Rabindranath Tagore, the exceptional landlord of Tagore Estate at Shelaida. Really, Rabindranath found himself in the confluence of Sufi, Vaishnav and Lalon mysticism in its sublime humanistic and monotheistic sense. Dear listeners, scholars have been working on Lalon for 150 years. It was started with the publication of the Grambarta Prakashika by Kangal Horinath in 1872. Later, Raicharan Das wrote an introductory note on Lalon in Hitakari on the 31st day of October 1890. Jyotirindra Tagore sketched the portrait of Lalon on Padma on the 5th day of May 1889. Rabindranath and Indira Devi were Lalon's fan. After this phase, Bholanath Mojumdar, Basanta Kumar Pal, Muhammad Mansuruddin, Dr. Upendranath Bhattacharya, Dr. Motilal Das, and so on did mass to make Lalon a legendary figure. And here it is mentionable in this regard that Abul Hasan Chaudhuri, the scholar and the researcher from Bangladesh, observed the death centenary of Lalon Shah by his edited volume Lalon Sharok Grontho. But my point is that Lalon was a true mass figure and his humanitarian, revolutionary and reformative aspects should have been highlighted more vigorously. The existence of the cult of untouchability and religious and even caste discrimination were like the wicked mark or injury in our social life for centuries here in this country. All these evil customs and superstitions flourished, though undesirable, basing on religion. In the medieval age, Kabir, Rajab, Poltu, Dadu, Chaitanya, Nanak, and even Tulsidas tried to prevent it. And Lalon was the true successor of these great reformers. Later, Lalon's disciples found more fertile land as India's civilization rests on this idea of synergy rather on barbaric discord. Hence, Baul devotees and especially the Lalon's disciples flourished on their own momentum through the heart of rural Bengal, mainly in the Poddagorai basin of Kustia as I mentioned earlier. Dear learners, now let us start the Lalon's contribution here in this regard. Lalon brought the people from the two major religious communities closer with his humanistic approach to religion in many of his songs. Say for instance, I quote, "Oh, how long are we to wait for the birth of a society where caste and clans and labels like Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Christian will be forgotten?" Again he queries, "The shape of religion eludes my vision. Circumcision tells a Muslim from others. But what is the mark of his omen? The Brahman is known by his thread. How do I tell who is a Brahmani?" Unquote. In another important turn, Lalon constitutes the cardinal feature of Dehotattva, saying, I quote, "My own identity eludes my grasp. Only with self-knowledge you can know the unknown." Unquote. According to Baul doctrine, definitely by Lalon, the abode of the Achinpakhi or the Atma or the soul is our human body, which always finds its final communion with the Paramatma, the Supreme Being. The mystery of the creation is also noted here in this regard. The ever-intriguing phenomenon of the menstrual cycle, the seminal fluid, the archetypal order of creation, and the five elements of the universe, including the human body, imagined to be the abode of the Atma or the Asin Paki. Now let us concentrate on a few of Lalon's followers. One of the major among Lalon's disciples who even influenced and inspired Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore was Gagan Harkara. His real name was Gagan Chandra Dam, and he was a postman by profession at Shilaidaha post office. By nature, Gagan was lively, enthusiastic, and careless about his own interest. His famous song, Where Shall I Meet Him, created a huge star. Years later, while giving his famous and Indian folk religion speech in France, Rabindranath said, I quote, "The first Baul song which I chanced to hear with any attention profoundly stirred my mind. The man of my heart to the Baul is like a divine instrument perfectly tuned. He gives expression to infinite truth in the music of life." Actually, Tagore was simply charmed and deeply moved by Gagan's song and philosophy of the same time of the Baul song. Here it is also mentionable that Gagan's original music of the song Where Shall I Meet Him was adapted by Tagore himself in his patriotic song Amar Sonar Bangla, which has been adapted as the national anthem of Bangladesh after the birth of the country in 1971. During his Shilaidaha life, Tagore developed a hearty relationship with Sarbokhepi Bostomi, who used to call him Gaur Sundarmor. She used to visit Shilaidaha Kutibari to get her meal twice a day. She loved flower and bore Gandhara's flower for Ravi. In his essay, An Indian Folk Religion, Tagore wrote, I quote, "One day in a small village, Shilaidaha of course, in Bengal, an ascetic woman from the neighborhood came to see me. She had the name Sarbokhepi given to her by the village people, the meaning of which is the woman who is mad about all things. She looked pained and said to me, 'You are always engaged reading and writing. You do not see,' she told me. Beloved of my heart, truly she represented the spirit of India." Unquote. Tagore of course made this lady famous in his famous short story Bostomi. Dear listeners, now it is time for Kangal Harinath. Kangal Harinath or Harinath Mojumdar was the author of many Baul songs. He was associated with Rabindranath Tagore during his Shilaidaha days. In this regard, it is profitable to note that Lalon and his disciples had to support Kangal Harinath, who became an open enemy of Tagore estate during the tenure of Debendranath Tagore for portraying their oppression episodes in his papers. Actually, it is also known that Harinath had published a series of articles in his Grambharta Prakashika accusing the Tagore Zamindars, which forced the British high officials to investigate the matter. It was not an easy achievement in those days. After this incident, Kangal's mentor, that is Lalon Shah, was looked upon by common people not only as their spiritual mentor but also as a friend of ever oppressed peasants. Rabindranath even requested Kangal not to publish the latter's 2000-page diary for the prestige issue of Tagore estate. So long it was believed that only the foreign rulers were the enemy of the peasant or native peasant here in Bengal. But it was Kangal Harinath who for the first time proved that even the native zamindars were equally responsible for the misery of our native peasants. So he decided to stop sending his articles to Calcutta to be published by the editors of papers patronized by the native zamindars. Therefore, setting up his own Mathuranath press at Kumarkhali at his own home, he published the Grambharta Prakashika just to express the plight of the poor farmers of Bengal. Rabindranath, of course, was fond of his Baul songs and personally collected them. Dear listeners, I would like to conclude my speech highlighting the Gosai Gopal and Gosai Ramlal episode in this regard. During his stay at Shilaidaha, Tagore got two more Baul saints as almost his neighbors. They were Gosai Ramlal and Gosai Gopal. Gosai Ramlal was a short-lived devotee. But according to Gosai Gopal's son Rajbihari Jordar, Tagore himself was quite interested in the both and he used to call Gopal on to discuss Baul cult. Bamasaran Bhattacharya, an employee of the Shilaidaha estate, helped Rabindranath to collect the songs of Gosai Gopal. Dear listeners, with this I would like to conclude. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.